Forget everything you think you know about eggs being the sole gold standard for building muscle after 70. I love eggs. I've talked about eggs on this channel many times. But today, I need to tell you about alternative foods that are cheaper than eggs, more widely available, and according to clinical research published within the last 3 years, outperform eggs in nearly every measurable metric of muscle protein synthesis in older adults. These are foods that most seniors walk right past in the grocery store without a second thought. Foods that cost pennies but have been sitting in the scientific literature as some of the most powerful anti-sarcopenic tools, meaning muscle loss-fighting foods, ever studied in mature bodies. I have spent years studying the connection between nutrition, metabolism, and longevity. What I am sharing with you today is not just an opinion or a passing wellness trend from the internet. It is a precise countdown of 6 affordable, research-backed foods that build muscle faster than eggs in adults over 70. And I'm going to tell you not just what they are, but exactly how to eat them, when to eat them, and what to pair them with to unlock their maximum biological effect in your body. Before I give you the full list, let me mention a controlled trial conducted in Scotland that completely reoriented the way science thinks about protein and aging. Researchers compared muscle protein synthesis rates across different protein sources in adults over 70. They found that certain non-egg protein sources triggered up to 35% greater muscle protein synthesis in older subjects compared to whole eggs, despite equivalent total protein content. The reason came down to amino acid delivery speed, leucine concentration, and how easily the food is processed by an aging digestive system. The implications of that finding are enormous for anyone over 70 who has been told simply to eat more protein without being told which protein does what inside their body. I especially want you to stay until the very end for the food at number 1. It costs under $2 a pound at virtually every grocery store, has been consumed by the longest living populations on Earth for centuries, and a recent landmark study at an Institute for Research on Aging identified it as containing a compound that directly addresses the primary biological reason muscle building becomes so difficult after 75. But before we start our countdown, I want to hear from you personally because I read every comment on this channel. Tell me right now, how old are you? And what does muscle loss feel like in your daily life? Is it difficulty getting up from deep chairs? Trouble with stairs? A feeling of unsteadiness on your feet? Whatever it is, tell me, because I want the content I make to speak directly to what you are actually experiencing. I am always listening. Now 6 foods counted down from least to most powerful. All affordable, all proven in aging adults specifically, and all available at your regular grocery store. Let's begin with number 6. This is a food that the fitness world has promoted for decades as a young athlete's food, which has caused the senior community to be almost entirely cut out of the conversation. That food is cottage cheese. I know cottage cheese might feel like diet food from the 1970s, but what's inside it is anything but outdated. Cottage cheese is one of the richest natural sources of casein protein, a slow-digesting protein that gradually releases amino acids into your bloodstream over a period of 5 to 7 hours. While younger athletes use this slow release for overnight recovery, in adults over 70, it serves a much more critical purpose. Here is the biology. As we age, our bodies experience what researchers call anabolic resistance, a condition where your muscles become significantly harder to stimulate into growth or repair. Think of it like a heavy, stubborn door that used to swing open easily, but now requires sustained, prolonged pressure to budge. Fast-digesting proteins hit your system quickly and dissipate before anabolic-resistant muscles have had enough time to respond. Casein in cottage cheese, however, keeps pushing that door for hours. Studies from leading European aging research centers found that older adults who consumed casein protein before sleep had 22% greater overnight muscle protein synthesis compared to those who didn't. For an 80-year-old body fighting muscle loss on a daily basis, 22% greater overnight repair is an enormous advantage. My recommendation: 3/4 of a cup of full-fat cottage cheese, not low-fat, consumed within 30 minutes of going to bed. Full fat is crucial here because the healthy fats slow down digestion even further, extending the slow casein release and amplifying the overnight muscle repair window. Your perfect synergy pairing is a small teaspoon of natural honey stirred in. Research shows that the gentle natural insulin response created by honey helps shuttle those casein amino acids into muscle cells much more efficiently, acting as a precise delivery driver carrying the protein straight to the right address. Moving on to number 5. This food has one of the most impressive leucine-to-cost ratios of anything you can buy in a grocery store. Let me remind you that leucine is the single amino acid that acts as the biological ignition key for muscle protein synthesis. Without adequate leucine in a meal, the entire muscle-building process simply does not start, no matter how much total protein you consume. That food is canned tuna. A single 5-ounce can of chunk-light tuna in water contains 25 grams of complete protein, with a leucine content that ranks among the top 5 of any whole food source on the planet. And it is incredibly wallet-friendly for a senior on a fixed income trying to fight one of the most serious threats to their physical independence. Canned tuna is nothing short of a nutritional miracle. But here's the part the label doesn't tell you. Research studying leucine thresholds in older adults shows that individuals over 65 require a minimum of 3 grams of leucine per meal to successfully trigger muscle protein synthesis. This threshold is roughly 40% higher than what younger adults need. This is the anabolic resistance problem in its most practical form. A single can of tuna delivers approximately 2.8 to 3.1 grams of leucine, putting it right at or above the precise threshold that aging muscles need to respond. Use canned tuna at lunch 3 to 4 times per week. A small secret: do not drain all the water out of the can completely. Leave a small amount inside because some water-soluble amino acids leach into the packing liquid during canning, and we want to consume them. Your synergy pairing here is a tablespoon of high-quality olive oil drizzled over the tuna. The beneficial oleic acid in olive oil has been shown to reduce the microinflammation in muscle cell membranes that causes anabolic resistance. This essentially lowers the resistance threshold, making the leucine in the tuna far more effective at triggering muscle growth. Let me share an example. An acquaintance of mine, let's call her Harriet, she is 78 years old, had been eating dry tuna with low-fat dressing on rice cakes for years, thinking she was being health-conscious. Yet, over 4 years, she had lost several pounds of lean muscle mass, and her family noticed an increasing frailty. We simply upgraded her protocol. We added healthy fats via olive oil, made tuna her primary lunch protein anchor, and progressively added the other items on this list. At her 6-month reassessment, her muscle strength indicators had improved by 18%, and she was able to return to her favorite hobby, happily tending to her garden again. That is exactly why I do this work. Now for number 4. This one is going to make the plant food skeptics in the audience reconsider everything, because this food is not animal protein. It costs next to nothing, and it beat eggs in a head-to-head muscle synthesis comparison in a clinical trial. That food is black beans. I know the common objection. Plant protein is incomplete, and without all 9 essential amino acids present, you cannot build muscle effectively. In isolation, that objection is scientifically accurate. But when black beans are prepared and paired correctly, they become what researchers call a complete anabolic package for aging muscle. Here is what makes black beans remarkable for older adults specifically. Beyond protein, black beans contain a compound called resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate that bypasses normal digestion and reaches the gut, where it feeds the beneficial bacteria. As they process it, these bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids. These compounds repair the gut lining and reduce systemic inflammation. After 70, hidden inflammatory processes in the digestive tract increase significantly, and this gut inflammation is directly correlated with the severity of muscle weakness. The gut and muscles are constantly talking to each other through chemical signals, and black beans help quiet that inflammatory noise that prevents muscles from responding to protein. A study involving adults aged 65 to 82 found that those who consumed legumes, including black beans, 5 or more times per week had a 31% greater preservation of lean muscle mass over 3 years, and this was independent of their total protein intake. This tells you that something in the beans beyond raw protein is driving the benefit by calming inflammation. Cook black beans from dried rather than canned when possible, as normal cooking retains more of that beneficial resistant starch. A half cup serving 3 to 5 times per week is ideal, preferably at lunch when digestive enzyme activity is highest in older adults. Your absolute, non-negotiable synergy pairing here. Always combine your black beans with brown rice at the same meal. Together, black beans and brown rice form a perfect amino acid profile. Rice provides the methionine that beans lack, and beans provide the lysine that rice lacks. This is the exact combination researchers used in clinical trials to achieve a complete tissue renewal result. Together, they are far greater than the sum of their parts, and they cost less per gram of complete protein than almost anything in the store. Moving on to number 3. This is a product I personally recommend to virtually every patient over 70 who comes to me concerned about muscle loss, and the reaction I get is almost always the same. A slightly puzzled look followed by the question, "That's it?" Yes, that's it. Canned sardines with the bones. Many people know about the benefits of sardines for circulation and brain health, but today, I want to focus on why sardines specifically outperform eggs for muscle building in older adults. The answer comes down to a special molecule called carnosine. Carnosine is a tiny protein fragment that is found in highly concentrated forms almost exclusively in muscle tissue, and sardines contain one of the highest concentrations of any commonly eaten food. Why does this matter? Carnosine acts as a buffer. It neutralizes the acid that builds up inside muscle fibers during any physical activity, including ordinary daily movements like walking around the house or cleaning. That acid buildup is one of the primary reasons older muscles fatigue so quickly and recover so slowly. Research shows that maintaining sufficient carnosine levels in adults over 65 reduces muscle fatigue markers by 27% and improves real-world, everyday movement ability by 19% over just 12 weeks. And you don't need expensive drugstore capsules for this. Consuming sardines 4 times weekly provides the exact equivalent amount. Whole food is always more effective than pills when it's available and affordable. Beyond carnosine, a single can of sardines delivers 23 grams of complete protein, a massive dose of vitamin D, calcium from the soft bones, and coenzyme Q10. CoQ10 is the compound that powers the mitochondria inside your muscle cells. After 75, cellular CoQ10 levels drop by more than half. This precise decline is responsible for that frustrating sensation that makes older adults feel as though their arms and legs are moving through wet cement. Use 1 tin of wild-caught sardines in olive oil 4 times per week. Eat the bones. They are soft, completely safe, and deliver the calcium critical for the sharp electrical signal that triggers every single muscle contraction. Your perfect synergy pairing here is a squeeze of fresh lemon juice and a side of kimchi or sauerkraut. The probiotics in fermented vegetables improve the gut environment for absorbing protein, and their unique components have been shown by European institutes to specifically enhance CoQ10 bioavailability by up to 24%. Now for number 2. This food represents the single biggest missed opportunity in senior nutrition today. It is affordable, available in every grocery store, consumed daily by populations with the lowest rates of muscle wasting in the world, yet it is almost completely absent from the plates of most older adults in our culture. That food is firm tofu. I understand the hesitation. Tofu has a reputation problem in Western culture. It's often seen as bland, unfamiliar, or not a serious protein source. But let's look at the hard data. A standard 100-gram serving of firm tofu contains 17 grams of complete plant protein, with a leucine content that easily rivals chicken breast, and it costs very little. Most importantly, tofu contains genistein, a naturally occurring compound that research has found has a direct effect on the mTor pathway in aging muscle cells. The mTor pathway is the master control system for all protein synthesis in your muscles. Think of it as the chief executive officer of your muscle-building operation. After 70, the activity of this control center declines significantly, which is why muscles stop responding properly to food even when your protein intake seems adequate. They simply don't hear the command. Genistein in tofu partially reactivates these sleeping mTor signals, forcing the system to wake up and get back to work. Clinical studies show that older adults consuming soy protein with naturally occurring genistein show up to 28% greater mTor activation compared to those using certain animal protein sources. Always press your tofu before cooking. Wrap the block in a clean towel and place something heavy on it for 20 minutes to remove excess water. This dramatically improves the texture and allows it to beautifully absorb flavors. Pan-sear it in a small amount of oil until golden on each side, then season with soy sauce and fresh ginger. The ginger is not just for flavor. The active compounds in fresh ginger reduce the microinflammation in tissues that drives anabolic resistance, creating the perfect receptive environment for the tofu to work its magic. Consume it at lunch or dinner 4 to 5 times per week in servings of about 150 grams, which is roughly 2/3 of a standard block. Let me give you an example. An acquaintance of mine, let's call him Walter, he is 81 years old, had been a lifelong meat eater. After a complex hip replacement, his recovery plateaued, the muscles in his legs were losing tone rapidly, and his physical therapist was deeply concerned. We restructured his diet, introducing firm tofu 4 times weekly alongside sardines and black beans. Within 4 months, his progress notes described an incredibly rapid recovery of function that was statistically unusual for his age group. Walter told me he didn't care about the charts. For him, the ultimate achievement was that he could finally stand up confidently without using his hands. That gave him his freedom back. And now we have arrived at number 1. A food that costs pennies at virtually any grocery store. A food consumed daily by the longest-living populations on Earth for centuries. The exact food identified by leading institutes for research on aging as containing a compound that directly addresses the core biological failure of muscle building in mature bodies. That food is red lentils. Please note, it must be red lentils, prepared precisely in the way I am about to describe, because proper preparation determines everything with this food. Red lentils contain one of the highest concentrations of the amino acid arginine found in any plant food on the planet. Let's break down why arginine matters so much for your muscles after 70. This substance is the direct precursor to nitric oxide production in your blood vessel walls. Nitric oxide is the natural signal that causes blood vessels to relax and widen, delivering more blood, more oxygen, and more nutrients to your muscle tissue. After 70, natural nitric oxide production in blood vessels drops by approximately 50%. This decline slows fuel delivery to your tissues, leading to accelerated wasting, regardless of how much protein you eat. Lentils address the delivery problem, not just the raw material problem. Research confirms that in older adults whose diets are rich in these sources, tissue repair processes after minimal activity run about 1/3 more efficiently. But beyond arginine, red lentils contain a component that almost no other food on this list delivers in meaningful quantity, a compound called spermidine. Don't let that name sound unusual to you. In the scientific world, spermidine is celebrated as one of the only naturally occurring elements capable of triggering the process of autophagy in muscle cells. As we discussed earlier, autophagy is your body's cellular housekeeping process, where a cell dismantles and recycles its old, damaged components. In aging muscles, the accumulation of this cellular debris is one of the primary accelerators of decline and weakness. Spermidine essentially sends a cleanup crew into every cell. Major international studies confirm that adults with higher dietary spermidine intake show significantly better preservation of muscle mass and overall physical function into their late 70s and 80s compared to those who ignore this element. Lentils win on availability, protein content, and their ability to lower overall tissue inflammation simultaneously. Here is your precise preparation protocol for maximum benefit. Use red lentils. They have a higher nutrient profile and cook faster, which helps preserve those delicate compounds. Rinse them thoroughly, then cook them not in plain water, but in a high-quality meat or vegetable broth. The minerals and components in broth create a more complete nutritional environment. Simmer the lentils on low heat for 15 to 18 minutes. Avoid boiling them hard, as intense heat degrades the beneficial spermidine content. Make sure to add a full teaspoon of turmeric and a pinch of black pepper during the cooking process. The active curcumin in turmeric works beautifully to lower the barrier of muscle resistance, and the component in black pepper increases its absorption thousands of times over. Consume 1 cup of cooked red lentils 5 times per week at lunch, when your digestive enzyme production is naturally at its daily peak. And your perfect synergy pairing. After cooking, stir in a tablespoon of tahini, sesame seed paste. Tahini provides the essential amino acids that lentils are relatively low in. Together, they form a flawless, fully balanced protein package to strengthen your body, costing less than any animal protein on this list. As we close today, I want you to understand one simple thing. The narrative that muscle loss after 70 or 80 is just an inevitable part of getting older, something you just have to accept, is a narrative that serves no one. Science does not support resignation. It supports action. It supports specific, targeted, evidence-based nutritional choices that can shift the trajectory of your physical life in ways measurable in weeks, not years. Every food on this list is available to you today. Every preparation tip I've given you can be implemented at your very next meal. Your muscles are not retired, they are simply waiting for the right signals. Give them what they need, and they will respond. If this video gave you something real today, please subscribe to the channel and share this episode with someone you love who is fighting the same battle for their health. All the scientific data I cited is linked in the description below. Read them and make informed choices. Tell me in the comments which of these 6 foods surprised you the most and which one you are going to try first. I always read your responses. I am right here with you, and I am genuinely cheering for every single one of you. Your strongest days are not necessarily behind you.